Hi, Mr. Grigoriadis. Thank you for accepting our invitation.
Good morning. My pleasure.
Greece and Turkey, its actuality in the world, in Turkey, in Europe, and everywhere we talk about the tensions between these both countries. Egypt, Greece, Cyprus, and Israel are making major energy deals in the Eastern Mediterranean, and Turkey's perception of the situation is somehow in the sense that country is losing its part in the exclusive economic zone. What's your interpretation related to this situation?
I think we need to understand, we need to better understand the situation. We need to start from a sort of a fear that has been dominant in Turkish foreign policy perceptions for decades and has somehow been reintroduced due to the recent developments in the Mediterranean. So Turkey has always feared being encircled by enemy states in its south coast. Whether this fear is realistic or not is another discussion. I don't think it's a realistic one, if you ask my opinion. But this perception has contributed to a sort of a very unilateralist and very aggressive reaction to some initiatives in the region that could be, under certain circumstances, understood as sort of isolating or keeping Turkey outside of the deal. Of course, there have been some developments in the last 10 years. There have been some discoveries of natural gas in offshore Israel, offshore Cyprus, offshore Egypt. So there has been a lot of speculation about the possibility of additional findings. Of course, to identify the exclusive economic zones of all these countries need to come together and negotiate and discuss. And there is international law provides instruments for this. So what has been happening in recent months have been some bilateral agreements, and I refer to the Turkey-Libya agreement and the Greece-Egypt agreement that claimed to resolve partially the EEZ disputes in the Eastern Mediterranean. But as one can see, if these agreements can be compared, these agreements go very much against each other. So they're based on completely different principles. Mm-hmm. So what should be done in order to reduce tension is, of course, on the first hand, reduce the tension of military activities, military exercises, or exploratory activities in the Eastern Mediterranean, and then have all countries agree on a common framework on how to resolve this issue. And this, of course, can be the international law. The international law is the instrument which the international community has developed over decades in order to resolve the dispute, which means that states sit together, discuss, and if they cannot come on a common agreement, like it is possible, but not always the case, then they can agree to refer the dispute to the International Court of Justice. Yeah. So that would be the best scenario out of this.
Well, that would be my next question, because yes, we know that Greece has considered Turkey's actions a breach of international law. There is also the proposal of Greece taking Turkey to the International Court of Justice in The Hague. As you say, how do you explain the logic behind this option if you open the parentheses?
What is happening right now is that Turkey's exploratory activities in the Eastern Mediterranean can be understood, can be interpreted as acts of sovereignty. Mm-hmm. And this area, Greece claims to be its own, or at least it is considered to be an area that is sort of has to be delineated by mutual agreement. So if any party makes unilateral moves in that area, claiming that I have sovereign rights to exercise or to conduct investigations there, this creates a precedent that Greece would like to prevent. So in a sense, Greece's presence in that region, in that part of the Mediterranean Sea where the Turkish vessel is meant to conduct exploratory activities, is meant to make a statement that I sort of dispute the existence of sovereign rights of Turkey to do what this vessel is planning to do. Of course, this brings tension, and this brings a high risk of an accident, which is sort of the biggest concern of everybody. And maybe you've been witnessing, there has been a lot of diplomatic activities in recent weeks. There was a visit by the German foreign minister to the two capitals yesterday. And the hope was exactly to reduce tension, to prevent the emergence of conditions that could lead to an accident, because it is clear that no side wants a conflict right now. But if too many vessels are concentrated in a too narrow sea area, it is likely that an instant accident can sort of cause major crisis in the region.
Well, you mentioned Germany's prime minister. While Berlin insists on the resolution of the crisis through diplomatic means, France provides military support to Greece and Cyprus. So how interpret this situation?
Well, the European foreign policy has never been uniform, and that's one of the big problems throughout the history of European integration. But so France's position has been more pro-Greece and pro-Cyprus and anti-Turkey, but I don't think that that's the only reason for this. Turkey and France have a number of disputes ongoing right now. We can refer to North Africa, we can refer to Sahel, the area south of the Sahara Desert. Germany's position has always been less unilateralist and more focusing on dialogue and negotiation. So to some degree, we can say that the two countries can work in a complementary manner. So I don't see necessarily a disagreement of opinions between France and Germany, but they may be playing a different role, which can, in a sense, help, on the one hand, prevent a stronger unilateralist move by Turkey against Greece or Cyprus. So France's position becomes a sort of a limit to this. But at the same time, Germany is trying to promote dialogue and a way out of this conflict. So. But as I said, that's not the first time. You can see the same situation when the crisis in Belarus or in Ukraine, in almost all major foreign policy issues for the European Union.
Do you think that the actual tense situation in the Mediterranean means a possible military confrontation?
No, I don't find this, I think it's a very unlikely scenario, but unfortunately, it's not impossible. That's why we need diplomatic negotiations ongoing, and we need work by all sides that can really sort of help reduce the tension and bring this possibility to zero. Because as I said, the fact that so many vessels and so many military activities are happening, military exercises or sort of any other, let's say, aggressive statements, all this don't help. So it is better for diplomacy to work and tension to be reduced, and a way to bring the issue to the International Court of Justice is found.
Yeah. The tension in the Eastern Mediterranean has brought Cyprus to the spotlight as well. Cyprus has steadily advanced in its energy program, and some experts argue that its diplomatic performance is probably better than that of Greece. How does the tension between Turkey and Greece affect Cyprus from your point of view?
Well, the situation in Cyprus is very much connected to this, because one can argue that it was Cyprus drillings that brought Turkey's attention into all the situation in the Eastern Mediterranean. Cyprus was signed some exclusive economic zone agreements early in the 2000s and developed a sort of an exploration program that had some findings. But finding some natural gas doesn't mean that the gas will be available tomorrow. There's a similar discussion right now in Turkey with the finding in the Black Sea. So identifying a natural gas field is one thing. Bringing into the market is a completely different story, because you need to look into the market prices, there are sort of some technical issues that need to be resolved. And of course, Cyprus, we have the Cyprus issue as well. So there's the whole discussion about the presence of Turkish Cypriots in the decision-making, the sort of the very nature of the Republic of Cyprus, because the Republic of Cyprus is recognized internationally as a state, but is recognized as a state which has two communities, a bicommunal state. Mm-hmm. And Turkish Cypriots right now are not represented effectively in any of these decisions. So when Turkey objects to the Republic of Cyprus drillings, sometimes it does this on this basis, arguing that I'm protecting the interests of Turkish Cypriots. Sometimes it does it on the principle that it claims that islands have no exclusive economic zone, which of course is against the international law. Islands have exclusive economic zone. Mm-hmm. The delineation of the exclusive economic zone, though, between states may follow a number of other principles too. So it is, but the principle of that the islands do have exclusive economic zone is there. So, but in the case of Cyprus, it becomes more complicated because there is the political issue of the island that comes into this. So, and although, as I said, the situation right now appears to be more promising in terms of gas findings, the market conditions right now, also due to COVID, are not very promising at all. Mm-hmm. Because right now, energy prices have fallen because of the crisis, and many countries invest, and the European Union invests on green energy. So if it takes 5 or 10 or 15 years to extract this natural gas, it might be too late. So the best way to make sure that this gas is extracted is to find a solution to the Cyprus issue, mm-hmm. which of course will have a positive spillover effect on the Greek-Turkish disputes too. It will be a very positive development for the whole region.
Yeah. Talking about the natural gas deposits, the discovery of Turkey, do you think that EU will be more interested in Turkey, or will the EU look at Turkey also as an energy supplier? Like, with this discovery influence Turkey-EU relations for you?
The discovery, at least this discovery that was announced last week, is nowhere close to transform Turkey from an energy importer to an energy exporter. It could reduce the dependency of Turkey on natural gas imports. So it could be so Turkey would need less Russian natural gas. So it could be in a position to bargain better with Russia. But even in that respect, the numbers are not very big. The announced volume is 320 billion cubic meters, mm-hmm. and Turkey's annual needs are about 50 billion cubic meters. So this means that we may have something like a couple of years of Turkey's needs can be met by this natural gas field, assuming that it will be fully exploited. Mm-hmm. So while it is a positive development, I think we shouldn't overstate its significance for Turkish economy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There is also an opinion that the demands of Greece are maximalist. For example, Mains Island is at the bottom of Turkey and far from Greece. I mean, is Turkey completely wrong in its action in the Mediterranean?
Well, as I said, Megisti or Castellorius, a Greek, is part of Greece. It's as Greek as Athens from international law. The fact that it's a bit far from Athens doesn't mean anything. It's close to Rhodes. Having said that, of course, the international law says that islands have full rights when it comes to territorial waters. And when it comes to exclusive economic zone, in principle, islands have full exclusive economic zone, but when it comes to the case of delineation of exclusive economic zones, other factors may be considered. Mm-hmm. So if both countries want to solve the problem, they will bring the issue to the international court, and both sides will make their positions, and then the court will try to find a compromise. Mm-hmm. So there are cases in the International Court of Justice whereby countries decided in similar circumstances. Mm-hmm. So they brought the case, and the court kind of confirmed some principles, but may decide to apply other principles as well in order for a fair conclusion to be achieved. So in that respect, I think it's important to clarify that Greece's intention is not to encircle Turkey, but Greece's intention is not to give up sovereignty on its islands either. So in a sense, one needs to find a very sort of balanced position that respects the sovereignty of Greece in its islands, while making sure that Turkey will have access to the Eastern Mediterranean. And this can be happening with the international court. The two sides can sit and discuss. And one of the aims of the visits of the German foreign minister is to resume the exploratory talks that have been going on for many years and were interrupted, I think, in 2016. So that would be a very positive step. But I understand that these talks are useful, but if there is no agreement anytime soon, the two sides can agree to refer the issue to the court. And as you said, the situation with the island of Megisti or Castellorizo is going to be one of the issues to ask.
Yeah.
Well, so that would be the best solution for everybody, like a sort of an agreement that will be based on international law principles, which will promote cooperation and trade and better relations in the region.
You have been, you used to live, you're still working in Turkey, in the academic area in Turkey as well, so you know the Turkey from inside well as well. Greek-Turkish relations have never been easy, but because of the last developments, the relations have reached a dangerous crisis point, if we can say like that. How is it possible to find an exit from the situation beside the International Court of Justice, beside the international law? Is there any possible way out?
Well, there are a number of disputes that have been outstanding for many years. Cyprus is a very important element in that respect. There are the bilateral disputes in the Aegean that were sort of reinforced since November with the signature of the Turkey-Libya agreement. So the focus shifted from the Aegean to the Eastern Mediterranean. If you ask my opinion, I think it's very important to be proactive in better times in Greek-Turkish relations. So leaving the problems unresolved when relations are good is not a smart thing to do, because in the end, we may have crisis like the one we're living now, and then these issues are going to make the situation much worse. So I think the wise thing is to work when things are better.
So in the Bilkent University, in the academic staff of the Bilkent University, a professor from Greece, relation with students, colleagues, how it's happened?
I must admit that Bilkent has been a wonderful academic environment for me. So far, I faced no problems, no discrimination, quite the opposite. The university has been very welcoming for foreign faculty members. And there is a very high percentage of the faculty that is international. I would think it's about 30 to 40%, which is quite an impressive number in my opinion. And the students have been very welcoming. So I faced no problems. Of course, I must say here, there is a sort of a caveat, like a disclaimer. I would like to ask that Bilkent is not the whole country. So Bilkent is a very good university, represents sort of the future of the country. And it's very international and very connected with the international academic community. But this doesn't mean that there are no problems in other parts of the country. Turkey is a very big and very diverse country.
What are the main challenges for you as an academician, Greek academician in Turkey?
Well, in recent weeks or months, we see the Greek-Turkish tension rising again. So this, I try to turn into a positive duty. So I'm trying to help the conflict resolution, sort of better understanding. My position between the two countries is extraordinary because there are not so many Greek academics working in Turkey. And I'm trying to explain Greek society to Turkey and Turkish society to Greece to the extent possible, because I do think that in the end, all sides, all parties will benefit from conflict resolution and better neighbor relations.
How you try to do this? For example, what's your main message to Greek society and to Turkish? What are your main highlights when you try to explain
Well,
how we're gonna have
my main highlight is that my main point is that problems are solvable, but it requires political courage and vision for problems to be resolved. The short-term cost of resolving problems may be high, but the long-term benefits of resolving conflicts are much higher for everybody. So this courageous step, we need to take, but we need to take it, of course, within a framework of common values, and the international law and the international sort of legal system provides such a framework. There is nothing special about Greek-Turkish disputes compared to other parts of the world. So since we talk about Europe as well, like if France and Germany could resolve their disputes, there is no reason why all other disputes in the world, including the Greek-Turkish dispute, cannot be resolved. We need to be inspired by this developments and seek a common future of prosperity and peace.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining to our program, and good continuation in Turkey in your academic life.
You're most welcome. Thanks for the invitation and good luck with your work.
Thank you.